Yeah, very welcome to you, my dear Cancer. So, you are getting one more time the Gemini Sun highlighting Cancer Moon. So, you are the last reading for Gemini Sun, and on the 21st or even the 22nd, the Sun is going into your sign, but then the Moon is already in Leo. And so, today you're getting twice the reading. You have to look into your communication, into what your relationship means to you, because Gemini is all about the relationship with yourself, and you are all about the success to find that love deep within. Always it is within you first, and then you can of course give it to your partner. And so the success has in itself also a little bit of a weak point, right? Because it's kind of like, well, then we arrive when we have this success, and then we don't evolve or continues to evolve, and that's the downfall. So that's the weak spot. When we're in our prime, in our fullest, immediately then after comes the decay, the death, that it's gone, right? That moment is gone. That moment has to rebuild itself again and again. The yoga position that I gave Gemini is here, King Pigeon, reaching back into the feet, into the subconscious, through the arms. That's the body part of Gemini. And I gave you Ashwa Sanchalan Asana, High Lounge, the horse itself. And here you see the lungs like a dome, giving her the oxygen that we need. And you can see that the success is always deep within. It's how you are seeing success. Success is an individual thing, right? Everybody sees their personal success story in a completely different way. So this is what's speaking to today. One more time, you already had it last time, Cancer Moon, Gemini Sun, and the message there was to be a healer means you are magically present in every moment. So you had this reading all the way at the beginning of Gemini, right? And now you're getting at the end of Gemini Sun one more time a message from Gemini. So you get it twice this month. The court card for you is the Queen of Cups here in Aleister Crowley. I gave each zodiac sign a different deck, and it happened to fall onto you. And I think you're the only one that can handle someone like Aleister Crowley, because you're the healer. And you see that she disappears almost here in this picture. You almost can't see her. And when you look really close, you see her face here in this swirl, right? So yeah, this is the Queen of Cups. Is your birthday between June 10th and July 12th? Then this is your court card. Then I have a new deck, which is the Lifruma Healing Oracle. This is the Anglo-Saxon rune alphabet. So I'm just gonna pull one card here and see what's wanting to come up. And the message, or the overall message, is here. The number 35, the wind horn, the being unbound. You can stop the video and read the message in there yourself. I'm gonna read it to you. Dichotomies of densely tangled emotions with the remedy implied in the diagnosis. The moon calls to hear a visceral, communal howling of human wolves shouting at the elements. The cure for pain is in the pain. Drain it out with an angry ancestral shout. This is the sound of the unbinding. Return the chaos to the draining refrain of order. What's found after the dance of disentanglement? your cure. 3, the Empress, and 5, the Hierophant. The Empress is bringing us always the new, the birth, the challenge to see that everything creates itself, right? Chaos, order, chaos, order. There is nothing else in this universe than these two energies. We call it love and hate. Still, it is chaos and order. And chaos and order has a different energy than when we say love and hate, because then it's kind of more personal. So we begin the journey now through this reading. One more thing, this is ruled by Mercury, and it's the 3rd house of communication, and you are ruled by the moon, and you are the 4th house of friends and family. Good, so let's begin. On the position of the Fool comes the High Priestess. And so, yes, you are called upon to be present every moment, and you are called upon to listen to your intuition, because she is the intuition. She is that person that says, I am ready to be a pope myself, a popess, right? A papess, it's actually called. And so the Fool is bringing you that inspiration, that state of consciousness that's saying, well, why are you not becoming now a holy person, a person that brings the intuition to the people, the healer? The connection here with the moon is very strong, because she also is ruled by the moon. And you can see these 1, 2, 3 crowns, these 3 stages on her head. On the position of the Magician, we get then the completion, the number 9, the snake that bites itself in its own tail. And the completion is with the 1 of the Magician, then a 10. And so here you have a 20, the 2 and the 0, and then you go down to a 10. It's almost like, yes, you have to really recognize that when you want to be intuitive, your success lies in understanding that everything is connected, and that everything will come back to self, right? And so here the completion, the 9, the Hermit, the inner knowing, the inner love. It's almost like this is saying, yeah, love yourself, then everything can come to you and be successful. And so here you get then the 10, and the magic begins within yourself. On the position of the High Priestess comes the Lovers. Here, the Hermetic Tarot, only black and white, we see that she is the intuition, and you had the intuition coming on the position of the Fool. So that foolish idea isn't that foolish. The foolish idea is saying, well, here Gemini a second time is bringing you a true self-love, a love that is saying, well, this 6 and this 2 creates an 8, and the 8 is that infinite spiral that we use to create inhale and exhale, to create a circle. And Gemini is literally giving you the light one more time, so that you can see how much you love yourself truly, deeply. And so here is Perseus saving Andromeda from being eaten by the sea dragon, by the sea snake. And so the snake in itself is that sexual union, and in that sexual union we get dependent on our partner, we get dependent on that which creates a higher state of consciousness. Because for me the orgasm is kind of like that state of consciousness when I meditate. And so be careful. That's what Gemini Sun is saying a second time to you. Then comes on the position of the Empress, Scorpio, the death, that moment where you let go of everything that you think you know, so that you can begin new. And it's 13, and she's the number 3. 13 and 3 is 16, the Tower. So something is coming crashing down and saying, well, you gotta let go if you want to give birth to something completely new. And you see how he is facing the left spinning cycle, and The left spinning cycle is the soul cycle, is the wobble the earth thus to the left. And that lasts 25,800 years. It's a very slow wobble, which we divide through the 12th zodiac sign. And then we get an age of 2,150 years. What happens in an age of 2,150 years? An age is long, and in an age a religion is formed. And so you are recognizing today, since today it's a right spinning reading, which is connected with the earth spin to the right every 24 hours, and that you have to recognize that things really need to fall apart, so that when it comes together, the 16 calculated together is the 7. So here you have a 7. You are giving birth to yourself. You are giving birth to that part deep within you that knows the success has to be also a loss at the same time. And you know that when I calculate here the 8 together, you're getting here an 8-8 portal with the 35, because when I calculate it together, you have then here the 8 and the 8. And your intuition is saying, well, being unbound, being this little star, right? All I see is the star, and the star has these 3 crosses. And out of the 3 crosses, we get actually 6 points coming out of the center. And so you know that the 6 is a very holy number, is the hexagram. And so here you are being called to truly let go, right? Because then this becomes a 4. And the 4 is the responsibility, right? The 13, the 1, always the magician, and the 3, the birth of the Empress. And then, of course, we have the 4 here in the Scorpio energy, in the Death card. And so you are learning to really accept that things are very brutal sometimes, and things can be very beautiful at the same time. So for me, this is also la petite mort, right? The orgasm that I spoke about, that sexual union. 9 is the tantric sexual union of the hermit. Deep within you know that you don't need a partner, and that's why the High Priestess came up, because she's not in a relationship. She's always alone. And so there is that sexual union deep within you that is creating something profound. And then, of course, here, the 8, the infinite loop of that sexual intuition that is bringing you a self-love, a deeper self-love again and again. And then, of course, this, right here, the 7, then you come out of it each time. And of course, it looks quite scary. He cuts off the heads and the arms and the hands, because that are where the 5 senses are. We don't want any of the 5 senses to disturb us anymore. We just want to go deeply within. Then comes on the position of Gemini, the Sun. Here, the energy of the 8 of Wands. And you see how the 8 of Wands is saying, well, then things happen really fast in the way you love yourself, in the way you perceive yourself. And that fast flash forward is like a lightning that struck you. And here's no person. This is just your mind recognizing again and again that everything in the 8 is here, the consciousness. This is Mercury in Sagittarius, and Mercury is ruling Gemini. So Gemini is bringing you the message, a deep, profound message of like, well, everything is deep within you, so just look and you will find it. Look and you will see that here something is speaking to you profoundly, to your intuition, because this is where Gemini is bringing you the message, right? The deep message of things are going to happen really fast. Then on the position of the Queen of Cups, she's in the center of this reading, comes the Ace of Pentacles. And the Queen of Cups is that state of consciousness of deep healing, deep water, emerging water and water. There is not more water than this. But too much water can make you drown. So you're getting here the antidote. You're getting earth. earth which holds the water. Otherwise the water has no space, right? Or has no place to hold itself. It will disperse in many, many drops all over the universe. But so here the earth is holding the water, and this is the holy water. This is the holy earth that holds your holy water, your holy grail, and you are recognizing that the earth is speaking to you and bringing you money that is very profound, very healing. And you are seeing this like angel wings, right? So it's almost like you are entering a state of consciousness that is not anymore like physical. Now you're going really into a non-physical energy, because there is no physical body. You have let go of that physical body. You really like got deep into your center, into your consciousness, and you're meditating and you're arriving, though still at an earthly aspect, because then comes on the position of Cancer, the 5 of Wands, right? And that's Saturn in Leo. And you see 8 wands and 5 wands create 13 wands. And the 13 is the death card. So you have through the 13 wands 4 left. And the 4 is again taking that responsibility over money, over the material world, right? 4 is the square. 4 is the emperor. 4 is that responsibility that we have to take over, knowing that the 5 is testing you, the 5 is wanting to play. It's also sometimes sexual cruelty, right? Since we're talking about a sexual energy here in the Scorpio. Also here the tantric union of the 9 of the Hermit, and also here the High Priestess retaining her sexual energy and moving her sexual energy up through the spine into her crown. So you are challenged. Somehow you are challenged, right? Because the 7 and the 5 is a 12, and the 12, then the 2, the High Priestess, and of course the 1, always the Magician, creates then the 3, the Empress. And so there is a success in searching and finding who you are and who you want to become, because that's what the 5 is testing yourself with others who are as well spiritually moving forward in their pursuit. Because then on the position of the moon comes here the crown game, and the crown game is the number 8, and the 18 of the moon is an 8 as well, but then calculated together it's a 9, and that's the opposite, the Hermit, the 9, right? There is a completion here calling your 8 to the crown game, and the crown game is the right use of power. And I think you are called to use this kind of power in the right way, to not abuse it, right? To not get caught in this game of who is better, who is more active, who is clearly more spiritual. Because the 5 sometimes, that's that testing. This the young people only do. Once you get to a certain state, you do not get into that game anymore. But you see that 1 that's pointing up here, right, where you find that liberation. And you see the crown is being held here in front of the heart. It's almost like they brought the crown down to the heart here on your head. Sometimes it can create something to you, and that's what Gemini does. Gemini is the arms and the hands coming out of the heart, and so Gemini is calling you to bring your crown down to the heart, because you got the Lovers on the position of the High Priestess, and that became an 8 as well, remember. So you have here this 8, right, the challenge to not get caught in that game. And then you have this 8, so you have 3 times an 8. And so don't get caught in that game of who's spiritually more advanced, because then on the position of the Sun comes here the 4, the West, the last puzzle piece, because the 19 is the 1, the Magician, and the 9, the Hermit, the 9 of the snake, right, in here. And that's that completion. That's that moment where you recognize it's a 10. And the completion with the Magician created a 10. And then you have the 4 that creates a 14. The 14 is the Temperance, is Sagittarius. And Sagittarius came through the 8 of Wands, Mercury in Sagittarius. That quick message is then clearly the last little puzzle piece, because the 14 creates then again a 5, and you have the 5 in here, right? The test. You have the 5 here, the test, that spiritual test that's constantly coming to you. And so the 4, the responsibility over the material world, over that material knowledge, is also here in this 4, right? The 13 that becomes a 4. And remember, you had the 13 here in the Wands, and calculated together it's a 4 as well. So knowing that everything has its moment, and it's bringing you the right information at the right time, and this is coming through Gemini in the Sun. And on the position of Gemini came the 8 of Wands. So it's going to happen really fast, because the 8 and the 4 is a 12. And that again creates the 3. And the 3 is the Empress. And how do you see yourself in that 3 of the being unbound, being free, being all over, right? And of course, remember, we had the 5 here with the wand through the moon. And the moon in Cancer is bringing you then, of course, the challenge to not get caught in this game, right? The game of playing with success, playing with spirituality. And the 5 and the 8 becomes a 13 again, and that's a 4. I mean, you can see with the numbers, it's so powerful. We can just continue this understanding of how much these numbers really influence us. And then comes on the position of the universe, the Fool, the 0. The 21 stays, right? The High Priestess and the Magician create then the magic. In the intuition is the Empress, and the Empress gave birth to Scorpio, to a sexuality that cuts off your knowledge of what a human being thinks, knows everything here in this world. And you gotta let go, and you gotta go into the 0 again, because on the Fool came her. And so you are walking clearly into the 2, into the High Priestess, into a state of consciousness that's saying, well, I do not want to be any more part of this human existence, because here you have the 3 left, right? But here in this Fool you have the 2 left, because she is the 2, right? And so you are recognizing that you are walking into the 3, from 2 into 3, and the 3 is the Empress. The 3 is saying to be a healer means you are magically present in every moment. And so one more time, Gemini is telling you, well, you gotta find whatever it is that you have to find deep within yourself, and continue your journey, because now you are actually walking into the next cycle, and that's the Sun then in Cancer. So your month is coming. And what is also coming is the summer equinox, the highest point of the sun now, the longest day and the shortest night, right? So something is clicking within you. You're going to recognize that Gemini is giving the light to that moment in Cancer. And so you are seeing that you coming from the moon into the sun, and that's where you're walking into. That's where you're beginning a whole new cycle. And this is what the message is today for you. Wow. Unbound, right? The number 35. You are recognizing that this is now shifting. So I hope I see you in the next one, because then the sun is in your sign and you're going to get a whole month the light. You're going to get this spark. You're going to get also this light and spark, right? And you're going to recognize there is something that is shifting, and you're bringing the crown to the heart, and the last puzzle is coming to you. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.